Today we're talking about my microbiome. So, your microbiome is who lives in your gut and who, I guess, runs your gut, because we are actually more bacteria than we are human if it comes down to cell for cell, and we need to get on with the people that live in our gut. So, anyway, are there parts of your body that are complaining or that are feeling uncomfortable that you may understand that could perhaps relate to your microbiome? So, for example, all our brain chemicals are actually more in our stomach than they are in our head or in our gut. So it's like when we're not happy or when we don't feel good, it's like it's actually due to who's living in our microbiome. So let's go in through our solar plexus chakra, which is around that area of our body. Good morning, Jackie. So, where in your body is complaining? All right, so this is in the solar plexus chakra. So I am peaceful and balanced while wielding my power. And I know myself, I can sometimes be a raving lunatic about different things when I'm very heated up about something. So I'm sure we all can feel very strongly about different aspects of things that happen or in our life or with our families or with the world. All right, I accept responsibility for all my actions. Right, so age 3, 8, 15, 20. Right, so she said my right shoulder and clenched jaw last night. Okay. All right, something in the throat chakra. I'm ready to put my negative habits aside and express my creativity. And sometimes we don't let ourselves. So it's like we feel um, like we have to do all the box ticking, the things that we really feel we have to do. And sometimes we don't allow ourselves to have time to be creative or to express how we feel. I express myself easily and with courage. What would you like to say? I'm able to speak. This goes back to age 3. And I'm valued. Okay. Anyone else on where in your body is complaining? All right, also age 5. Feeling unwelcome. Working on people, often there are issues that come up for people when the next sibling is born. And sometimes, if you're the older sibling, it's hard for you when the next one's born because you've been the person that was, the important person. And then when the next sibling comes along, it's like you're demoted and you are not in the pole position anymore. So that can be hard for a lot of people. And every time there's another child too, it's like you go further down the pecking order. Right, so let's go in the brow chakra now. All right, I replace all negativity surrounding others and myself with positive energy. I am seeking only the truth and let everything else fall away. So sometimes when you're a parent, of course, you're new at it and you have expectations on yourself, to be good with the child and still run your home. And still be okay in how you dress and look and how you function. And sometimes it's a lot, and sometimes we don't do great. And so we can be irritated with the child because of that. And so it's like then the child feels like things are their fault. All right. So she said, fear of upsetting people. This is from Jackie. I tend not to talk and with family, they don't talk about emotions. Age 5 lady doing aftercare was annoyed with when mum was late. Okay. So you're copying it when mum wasn't doing the right thing. All right. So now we're going with crown chakra. And as a child, upsetting people is a very fearful thing, isn't it? Like your life depends on the people that look after you, loving you and taking care of you. And if they're annoyed with you or things go badly, then you're relying on people that are not caring. And maybe it's not that they don't care all the time. Maybe it's just at this particular minute when something's going wrong. All right. So let's say I am fun and spiritual. Sometimes we get a bit too stuck with being serious. All right, so some stuff stuck in our mind. All right, so believing that we can change our lives is the first step. And I guess if we're talking about the microbiome, that's part of it, isn't it? That we believe we can change what we're eating or how we're operating. Others are okay with my changing. And sometimes they're not okay because we're not willing to suck it up like we did in the past. And so then some people can be very upset about that because they want us to wear it and we might not want to wear it. All right. I am able to observe my reactions to change from a distance. Sometimes it's very hard to let go of the way that we thought of things. All right, so layers of the aura. So we're going into the 6th layer, which is about emotional and spiritual communion. So leaking energy from females So now we're going to go into the third layer of the aura, which is about our thoughts and ideas. So stagnant energy in the third layer. And stuck emotions. All right, so feeling unsupported. So how would support look? How would you like that to be? Do you want people to talk to you about it, or do you want people to make the changes with you so that you feel like you have support in doing what you need to do to change your life? Okay, so it's a bit better in the aura. So okay, so we're going to look up shoulder in this is The Secret Language of Your Body by Ines Siegel. Droopy shoulders indicate a lack of joy and fun. So what would be joyful for you to do? What do you enjoy doing? All right, so this is from Ina Siegel. Allow yourself to completely relax for a few minutes. Imagine that you are standing in warm yellow sunlight. Allow the yellow rays to penetrate deep into your shoulders to soften the muscles and dissolve all tension. All right, so some feeling stuck in the shoulder. Fixations, complexes, or neurotic attachments affecting emotional nature. Age 26. All right, so underlying is a fungal infection. In the stomach. So when we are very anxious, our stomach acid doesn't work as it would normally to kill bugs or digest the food properly. So this can create a problem because your stomach acid should be strong, and it should be able to break down our foods completely, and also should be able to kill any bugs that come in through our mouth. So hiding under that is feeling that you can't change. All right, so I'm able to change. All right, so Jackie's saying, surrounded by women at work trying to make changes is resisted. I bet. Others support me in changing. It's like, no. And that goes back to age 5. All right, so let's say then, because then you're feeling responsible for other people's feelings. So let's say I no longer take responsibility for others' feelings. All right, age 16. Not necessarily for you, Jackie. It can be for some of the other people at your work. Age 20, 33, 52, okay. All right, so I'm able to change that stronger now. All right, age 45. Practice managers seem sick all the time, right? So the feeling that's stuck is unhappy with this time of life. How old is your manager? And all right, so she doesn't feel like she's able to be healthy. Her dad is sick and she seems sick with worry. Her parents live in far north Queensland. That would be hard, wouldn't it? Yeah, so I guess there's the worry that her parents could die. So we'll say for her, I'm okay without my parents. Not that she wants to be without them. All right, age 5. And she's probably menopausal. She's nearly 60, right? Her dad wants to go. He's given up. Oh, that's sad, isn't it? So is her dad in his 80s or in his 90s? All right. So your manager um, is having trouble forgiving herself that her dad wants to die. Yeah, 86. Yeah. And it's hard because if your health isn't good, then sometimes it just doesn't feel like life is worth living. All right. So if we send some love to the dad, something in his 12th chakra. Uh, so Jackie said, if she's unhappy with her life now, it is a reflection she sees could happen to her. She's got sinus pain. Well, sinus often goes with stomach, so it's like hard to digest her feelings of what's going on. All right, I'm worthy and deserving of reaching my greatest potential. Now, we can tend to think of this life as the end, but we exist afterwards, and so this is part of our existence, and it's like we can. I think we don't fully become who we are in this life. So it's like your dad, I guess, has the opportunity, to continue in after he dies without the pain of his body. All right, and let's say I am one with all that is. So a lot of people, as they get close to the end of their life, can be visited by people from the other side. So it's like, when we have a baby, it's like the family from the other side are handing this child to us, and we're like, oh, so grateful to receive. But at the end of life, it's like we're handing the child back to the family on the other side, and they're waiting, with great anticipation to be with their loved one, and to hear their story and to, I guess, love them abundantly. All right, so let's say for your boss and all of us, I truly believe it is possible to have a great life. And greatness doesn't depend on necessarily like having money or power. It's like being able to enjoy being present and enjoy being with family. All right, so we're going to ask to release for your boss the trauma of what she's going through with her parents. And I guess forgiving herself that she can't be there with them all the time. And I guess it's all of us. I no longer have to save my family. And, are we really saving them? It's like they're going to be, like we're all children of a Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother, and we are loved and accepted. And we came here to grow and to learn. And sometimes those experiences are difficult. And we don't always feel that it's easy to grow and learn. And we don't always feel that we have done a smashing job of our life. So I guess sometimes we just have to pray for people and send them love. And they have to have their own experiences, and we can be supportive of them and their experiences, but it's not necessarily our responsibility to change the things that are unchangeable. All right, so we're in C7, which is like just above the large bump at the back of your neck. So shoulder pain can come from C7. All right, so this comes back to the fungal infection. All right, so we can get fungal infections in joints. And so some of the most painful joints can be actually fungal infections. So fungal infections have three components. So there's the what we eat, because like if you eat sugar and yeast and foods that break down quickly into sugars, we can feed the fungal infection. And often whoever's living in our gut will send us to go and get the food that they need and not necessarily the food that's good for us. Another part of it can be environmental. Is there mold in the home or the office, so that we are constantly taking in fungus. And the third thing is having moldy old thinking. How are we thinking about ourselves? All right, so if I look up fungus, this is allowing the past to rule the now. Yeah, so it's almost like we're stuck in the past. All right, so also underlying is bacteria affecting the adrenals, which is another reason that we might want to eat bad food, is because we're tired. So when we're tired, we want to eat the fast-acting carbs and the sugary things. So this is inner seagull with adrenals. Feeling emotionally unbalanced and unstable, one moment happy and content, the next sad and hopeless. Frequent bouts of paranoia, panic attacks, fear and anxiety, often related to a feeling that you have taken the wrong direction in life. Difficulty in making decisions. All right, and then a feeling of stuckness. So many problems in your body and in your life occur when you are feeling stuck, inflexible, and attached to one point of view. This often takes place when the same thoughts or scenarios play themselves over and over in your mind. So we could call that the moldy old thinking. When you feel stuck, everything in your life and body becomes stiff. Your creativity gets blocked. You start to experience hardship and struggle and take on the attitude that life is hard, which in turn creates hardness in your body, mind, and emotions. All right, so Inner Siegel talks about divine healing intelligence, and she said, using the orange red flame of purification, please dissolve all stuckness, stiffness, inflexibility, blockages, struggle, and limited points of view. Help me to let go of all hardness in my mind and emotions. Work with me to release patterns of strain, struggle, effort, and resistance. Please melt away all blockages in my mind, body, and emotions which obstruct my flow of energy and circulation. Okay, so sometimes this moldy old thinking can translate to our body. So, of course, that comes back to the microbiome, doesn't it? So, what we're eating, what we're, breathing, perhaps, what we're thinking. Let's say I'm okay without my fungal infection. Age 3, 7, 10, 15, 43, and 73 for somebody. All right. All right, if we ask as a group at the moment, our microbiome is running at about 73%. So there was an article talking about how the English Olympic cycling team hadn't won a race for 100 years, and the people supplying them with the bikes were very unhappy about that and wanted to withdraw the supply of the bikes because they weren't making them look good. So they got a new coach, and he decided that they were going to improve things in different areas 1%. So they were going to improve their diet 1%, and they were going to change the bike seats 1%, and they were going to change their exercising 1%, and so on. So they made lots of little changes, small incremental changes, and they won. So I guess for us, we can think that we have to make huge changes all at once, which can be very hard. So even if we can think about, eating 1% better this week, thinking 1% better, all those things can help us to do better. Even if we're cleaning out the mold and there's 1% less mold, that's going to be better for our body too. All right, so some sort of bacteria in the lungs. So more of an emotional base. And hiding underneath is hurts where love is concerned. And of course, the people that love us have the most power to hurt us, don't they? So our adrenals didn't start at a very good level, so it's um, improved with what we've been clearing. All right, so let's say I treat myself with love and respect. And so that goes with what we eat, how we think, and getting enough sleep, even what we wear, or how we let others treat us. All right, so a generational component from mum and the women. It's actually mum's dad's side. Seven generations of women. Okay, so I treat myself with love and respect is strong now. I'm able to improve different areas of my life by 1% is strong. All right. So, in general, comments about microbiome. Each culture has things that they would do to help their microbiome. So, the Arabs have kefir, the Koreans have kimchi, the Italians and the Greeks often have the pickled vegetables. Um, the Germans have sauerkraut. So, it's like fermenting vegetables or fermenting products helps make good bacteria that can be used to help regenerate our microbiome. Good morning, Elizabeth. So eating foods that supply prebiotic fibers can help create the framework for good bacteria. And so, of course, when we eat foods that have no substance to them, so there's a lady, she calls herself the glucose goddess, and she has all these little tips. She's lovely to listen to. She's got a French accent. And she talks about having a tablespoon of vinegar in a glass of water about 10 minutes before you eat. And also when you eat, to eat your vegetables first. It's almost like have like a vegetable entree. And then you eat your proteins and fats. And then lastly, you eat any carbohydrates you're going to eat. So she said if you're going to eat anything sweet, it needs to be as a dessert and not first up. So, and she said we always have to start with a savory breakfast. So it's funny, isn't it? Because we've always been taught to eat cereal, which is a sweet breakfast. And even like fruit and yogurt, there's all sweet things. So it's like changing our breakfast to a more savory breakfast is helpful. And it doesn't matter if you're doing intermittent fasting, which is also good because it allows your body more time to eat up the food that you have there and actually to burn your fat. So whenever you break your fast, you eat protein and more savory things. So like mushrooms are great. They've got lots of prebiotic fibers in them. All right, so anywhere else in our body that's complaining? Okay, so if we're talking more about our microbiome, so Elizabeth's saying her throat and having allergies. All right, so again, back to you in the stomach. So, of course, stomach meridian starts on that face there and runs down our throat and all the way down the front of our body to our middle toe in our feet. So age 6, hiding in your throat. Feelings of injustice and revenge. And I'm sure at age 6, they certainly stuffed up your schooling in the beginning, wasn't it? It was terrible what happened. So it's like forgiving those who failed to protect you and failed to give you the right education and support. Right, so you still feel angry with the school. The feeling that you must experience pain. So this is a generational feeling from your dad's side of the family and the men. This goes back a long way, like 93 generations of men. Printer keeps turning on and off. Okay. All right. Feeling hooks in your aura. Male. So 27 hooks. So it's like a false idea from the person hooking into you that they can get energy from you rather than getting energy from the source. All right, so generational baggage from his dad and the men on that side. Like 17 generations of men. So his microbiome is not running great. So his thoughts and his feelings are going to be very jumbled. Yeah. And it's easy to blame other people. So let's say for him, I'm able to take responsibility for my feelings. Age 16 for him. And 20, 41, 44. Okay. All right, so I no longer take blame for other people's problems. I'm able to allow people to take responsibility for themselves. And of course, when things go wrong, we do like to blame other people. I'm sure I do the same thing. So let's say the buck stops here. All right, so gene from his dad's mum, and the women. 23 generations of women. Okay. And, sometimes people have to work through these things and it might take time, and that, there can be a lot of blaming and anger, and it's hard to not take responsibility for someone else's feelings when they feel bad towards us. Okay. All right, so let's check in. How's your allergies feeling, and how's your throat feeling? Just looking up an oil. So, Jackie said, I'm feeling less tense. Oh, that's good. So, turmeric. So, Elizabeth said, thank you, a little better. I'm sure it takes a while to. All right. So, anyway, turmeric oil. I don't know if you can hear any of this, but okay.